from Kevin's Corner. That's right, y'all. I'm back on this channel for now. But we're going to have to talk about some things because, the craziness never stops. Therefore, I can't stop. I have to keep going. And one of those things I got to do is check. Okay, there we go. Okay. Now I see him running. All right. Now, real quick, check in with me. Make sure that you can see and hear me. If you are watching me from YouTube, say what's happening. Okay, so glad to see you back, Kev. We missed you. I missed y'all too. More than you'll ever know. Now, I'm still not allowed to be on my other channel. So I did start a new one, okay? But I found out some things. I can't put the new... My dog's making some weird noises. I can't put the new channel in my links because, I don't want people to know that it's still me. So the new channel is going to be called KC, for Kevin's Corner. Okay. 2 free. There you go. That's right. That's all I want. I want free. Dumb. Feed them, mommy. To be able to talk about what I want to talk about, say what I want to say. And that's why it's important for you guys to follow me on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, all that good stuff. So that when I do post that link on other things, you close. KC, there you go. To the point, and then the word free. Just like that. I just subscribed to myself from that one right there. I'm looking at me right there on that laptop. That's me. Hello, me. What you up to? I ain't up to nothing. You ain't up to nothing either? Seem like we on one accord. Both me's. All right, now, with that being said, let's get ready to get into some stuff because, the nonsense doesn't stop. Therefore, neither can I. I am going to be uploading on that channel. And so when you do find it, make sure you like and watch the whole video. Yes, there you go, right there. Watch the whole video so that when you watch it, it'll kick in the algorithms. I learned a lot about YouTube and how they play shenanigans and all of that stuff. So you got to watch the video for a certain amount of time. Then it fires up their algorithms and then to make it do something. Then majiggers take place and then all kind of stuff like that happens. So we got to keep that stuff going. Now, hit the like button, share my videos, follow me on all those other platforms. And y'all know pretty much everything else that we have to do to try to stay in business and keep this party going. They're trying to shut down my party, man. The nerve of them. I guess they don't like the party. That's why you don't invite liberals to your party. They are party poopers. Boom, boom. Party pooper. You know they party poopers. If there's a party in the house, they will poop on it. Party poopers, man. So, not me. I'm not a party pooper. I like to keep the party going. And that's what I plan on doing tonight, y'all. So, we got a lot to talk about. And I got a theme for tonight. And the theme is all the things the dems don't like. And they don't like a lot. It's a lot of things they don't like. Okay. And we want to talk about that. I don't want to talk about things they like. I want to talk about the things they don't like. And so with no further ado, let's get into this. Let's welcome to the show, y'all. And let's get the party started. All the things the dems don't like, y'all. Yeah. That sounds like... She was more like a beauty queen on a movie screen.
Welcome to my party. We're just getting started.
We're just getting started. So guys, right off rip, if you've been paying attention to what's going on around the country, you have to admit that the Dems don't like law and order. What's with them with that? Who doesn't like law and order? And there's a reason I think that they don't like law and order. It's because law and order stands in the way of criminals. So the Democrat operates like a criminal cartel, see. So therefore, they don't like law and order. Or another group of people who don't like law and order would be socialists, fascists, things like that. They don't like it for another reason, though. Because law and order brings stability to citizens' lives. Now, if you want to destroy that stability, if you want to destroy that unity, if you want to destroy people becoming complacent and comfortable in the state that they're in, disrupt their ability or their need to feel safe. Folks don't enjoy nothing when they don't feel safe. You ain't having no picnics. You ain't having no parties. You worrying about folks shooting up your party when you have one. You worried about folks crashing your picnic. You worried about all kind of stuff, man. So whenever you are trying to undermine the current stability of society so that you could make the people feel so uncomfortable that they'll yearn for a new system, what you do is you unleash just chaos. And once people feel that, they're not focused on church. They're not focused on getting married. They're not focused on having a big family, having kids. They're not focused on a lot of stuff. I mean, you can't even focus on the basic stuff you need if you don't feel safe. Try eating some food. You could be starving, y'all, and thirsty. But if you get dropped out in the Serengeti and there's some lions walking around, you think you're going to be sitting over there eating? You ever watch animals try to eat? The ones that usually get attacked, they're nervous all the time. You look at those herd animals, they always be like, wait a minute, give me. All right, y'all got watch? Everybody watching? Okay, I'm going to go ahead and take a bite now. Don't let me get eaten. Okay. You can't even focus. You're sitting there thinking, like, how am I going to enjoy this meal and laughter amongst the other gazelles when I got to worry about a cheetah attacking me? So you always on edge. And the Democrats operate in that type of chaos. So they got two things going for them. On one end, they operate like criminals. And on the other end, they operate like socialists. And they want to just disrupt dang on society. But it backfires. Now, if the people realizes that these people are really behind a lot of the chaos and their policies are, then maybe they might pump the brakes a little bit. But as long as the people are still misplacing the blame, as long as the people who's voting for them in these areas don't recognize that these same people we're voting for is the source and the sum total of our misery, then they're going to keep doing it. So let's check out what's happening right now out in California. Knows how to party. Or do they not know how to party? They do know how to commit crimes, though. Here we go.
Well, lots of talk over the past few years of defunding the police. Tonight, West Hollywood has done it, voting to reduce the number of armed deputies and using the money it saved to hire unarmed security patrol.
1 year later.
I'm absolutely petrified of someone holding a gun to my head or holding a gun to my husband's head or stealing my dog.
Stealing your dog? It's that bad out in Hollywood? Now, you would think that they would have enough sense to protect some of their places where, they're famous and known for, or some places where the rich and the elites like to, rub elbows. You would think they would say, all right, look, let's just let the Compton areas and Harlem and all of that, let that stuff just collapse. But they're so arrogant and so content. They have the nerve to say in our wonderful, nice, complacent places that we go and frequent and enjoy, all the people who vote for us go out there and they kick it and they have a good time because they're thinking, you know what, the crime doesn't bother us. I'm sure in these more less fortunate areas, crime runs rampant. You would think they would at least protect those. But it just goes to show how arrogant and naive they are. When you think that human beings will not shipwreck themselves by recognizing, I don't care what location you live in, if I notice that there's no protection over there, if there's nothing that's going to stop me from running up in there and just snatching stuff, especially the good stuff. Because see, y'all removing police from areas where the poor and the criminals are going, man, I sure would let it go over there and steal. However, if I go up in Beverly Hills, those cops don't play. If I go down to Mar-a-Lago, when I steal something, they're going to throw my butt in jail. If you in Youngstown, if I go out in Boardman and start looting, they're going to throw me in jail. But let those areas let out the message that, no, we're eliminating our police to show you just how virtuous we are. We're removing our police to show you that this can work. Our whole idea of getting rid of the police, look at that. People know how to behave. We trust their better inner side will come out. No, what comes out is the chaos, okay? Which keeps law and order in society is a nice, healthy balance of discipline and consequences with freedom. So you will have your freedom as long as you understand if I abuse my freedom or somebody else's freedoms or rights, then discipline comes. But if you remove that element, guess what? chaos comes. And that's what's coming to California and up there in Hollywood. You hear this guy right there with all of that snot in his voice. You know what? I'm afraid that, that somebody might steal my husband or my dog or something like that. You think that man can defend himself? He's a gentle woodland creature. He needs somebody up in there with a weapon. But let's continue.
This video 1 week ago of one man vandalizing another's car, then them both fighting in the street. Looking on are the city's security ambassadors.
Yeah, there was quite a bit of confusion. People were saying they were going to lose 5 deputies and 4. Let me explain. In 6 months, the West Hollywood Sheriff Station will lose 2 deputies. They will lose 3 more 6 months after that. But a deputy will be reinstated in what they call the entertainment policing team.
What is that? So these brilliant geniuses that runs Hollywood figured, yeah, let's go ahead and hire, I guess, ambassadors or whatever to walk around dressed up like police officers with no weapons. I mean, have you ever walked through like maybe a Walmart or something and you notice the old guy standing over there with, nothing but like a billy club flashlight and a walkie-talkie? Do you feel like as if you got out of hand that person's going to be the person that jump in and smack down? No, that guy doesn't count. He's not even a real cop. You're right. Somebody said, what in the heck is security ambassadors? I could just deem myself that. I'm a security ambassador. Everybody now settle down. What is that? But they're getting rid of the deputy sheriffs and they're adding in security ambassadors. What could go wrong with that?
So the net loss really is 4 deputies. Watch.
It's a bad move. This area needs to be safe. It's not safe anymore.
West Hollywood business owners, not the only ones questioning the city council's reallocation of sheriff money to the block-by-block unarmed blue-shirted security ambassadors.
Look at that, guys. They took a senior picture. They up there got their class photo going on. You see that? Look at them all posing. They got the bicycles. What could go wrong with that? Don't they look very threatening? Now, as I'm looking at these security ambassadors, 1, they all look very young. 2, that got to be probably a very low qualified job. I mean, what real qualifications you got to have to ride the bicycle and just observe people breaking crimes and can't stop them? All you can do is just radio and, all right, can I get the real police? Yeah, some crime is going on over here. What are we doing? Nothing. We're standing there looking at it. What do you think we're going to do? We don't even have a gun. So now the security ambassadors are on the march, y'all. Let's see. Look at that. They look so cute.
Program.
Honestly, Christina, we actually increased the public funding for our community safety division because we added 30 block-by-block ambassadors.
30 block ambassadors. Now, you cannot be serious about stopping crime if you got folks like this riding around. Now, look at that guy right there. This guy I know it's kind of far away, but that guy right there doesn't look like he can run 1 lap. Not one. Unless there was a hamburger just being drug on a string, he might make it. However, the rest of those cops are out there on bicycles, little green bicycles with masks on. Probably can't breathe. What are you doing with the mask on? See, this is virtue signaling. This right here only would take place out in California or a liberal city. These folks are very naive, extremely, to think that these people, just their presence, is going to stop crime. Let's continue hearing about these deputies on duty. Here we go.
To patrol our residential streets.
But the West Hollywood Sheriff Station will lose 4 deputies, which concern neighborhood watch groups citing the 137% increase in crime from last year.
What? Now you would think those numbers going up would drive different policies. If you were serious about stopping crime, if you were serious about protecting your citizens, all you would have to do is look at the policies. You would look at the crime. You would look at the stats going up, and you would say, I don't want to be the person on my watch where they look at those statistics and say, why did that number go that far up under you? What policies did you put in place? Why wasn't it like that before? If you cannot come to these conclusions that should drive a different direction in your policies, then either you're too dumb to recognize it, or perhaps you're just as crooked and corrupt enough to allow this to happen. See, now I look at it like this. If I got a crib to protect and a family in that house, I'm not going to say, you know what, I'm going off to work and I'm going to leave the doors unlocked, because I think that'd be a good policy. I'm going to put a big old sign on the front of my yard saying everyone's welcome to come on in and enjoy yourself for a better life. If you do stupid stuff like that, you get stupid results.
People don't feel safe, and we wanted the sheriff's budget to be maintained or potentially even increased.
He brings up how pedestrians are being targeted after leaving restaurants in the city, and the uptick in store heists. Here, surveillance video of a robbery at Giorgiano's fine jewelry and watches just a few days ago.
At night is different streets. And now that the bar is going to be open till 4 o'clock.
West Hollywood approving the late bar program pending state.
Snap! Y'all see them out there? Lots of rainbows in there, y'all. I guarantee you it's that music. Yeah, so somebody said nasal speaking. Yeah, you're right. So here we go. They're having a good time out in Hollywood while the criminals are too. See, that's the problem.
Approval. At the same meeting, they cut the deputy budget, which worries the owner of the block party, smack in the middle of two bars.
By defunding the police, you're not planning for extended bar hours. The block by block is good for certain things.
Like what?
But when it comes to breaking up fights, when it comes to knives at night, defund the police now? I mean, it's the worst time to defund the police.
Sheriff Alex Villanueva responding to losing the 4 deputies at the West Hollywood station by saying,
they want to experiment with your public safety, and so they may want to start reimagining another line of work than being elected officials.
Now, see, that's what the real police feel about this. See, whenever you have folks hired to stop something, and you come in with some bright ideas that we're going to change this up and this and that, and then when crap goes completely off the chain, and you're sitting back like, we're doing everything we can. The real folks that's responsible for that you threw under the bus, they will always let you know, like, we do not support you in those stupid policies. You want us to protect folks, and you're tying our arms behind our backs. So you know what? Let it all come down. Telling you all falls down. And that's exactly what's happening out there. And this guy called it out. See, all you have to do is just have a little common sense and project what's going to happen. You got cause and effect. If you do this, most likely this will happen. So now these people, like I said, are either really, really, really dumb or they're evil. Probably a mix of both.
If they're not going to represent the wishes of their own constituents.
Now, a lot of the constituents we talked to seem to have preferred, they like the idea of the ambassadors. They really wanted to see more of them, but I think they would have preferred to wait a little bit to see how that worked out before removing deputy sheriffs. Let's see what happens.
Now to this, a brawl on the streets of West Hollywood is raising questions tonight about the effectiveness of the city's unarmed security patrols.
Things got on camera, and 2 of the so-called security ambassadors are seen calmly watching it unfold.
Ron and Pat, there are more than 100 comments on the video posted on social media. It all happened right here on Santa Monica Boulevard, down the block, with lots of people watching. And you're right, it has reignited a controversy that started a year ago when the city council voted to reduce the number of deputies while increasing the number of unarmed security guards.
Now, every one of those city councilmen should be terminated or voted out or whatever. But they chose to do this. Now, you got some, I guess, security ambassadors with no guns walking around that city. And yet they want to disarm the population. But this is a perfect example that what backs up authority is not good intentions. It's not just your very presence. It's what's called dunamis power. It's a biblical term. You got dunamis power, meaning the ability to back up something with force if necessary. What makes a human that's driving a car late for work or whatever, maybe got to take a poop, and it's like, hurry up, beep, 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 get out the way. And here's a cop out there with the whistle, and he got his little white gloves on. All right, everybody, come on this way. That guy that's riding, he stops. Why does he stop when he see a little 150-pound cop standing there? Is it the cop's badge? No. Is it the cop's cute little uni? No. How about his hat and whistle? No. Those fancy white gloves? No. He knows that if I don't respect those things, I do have to respect that Smith & Wesson or that Glock. That's the backup. So by all means, I could take the chance of saying that's just a man in a uniform. I'm going to run him over. But if I choose to do that, that person might back up his little whistle and his badge and all of that stuff with some force. I will stop for that. That right there is the equalizer. It makes you say, whoa, that dude right there got something that can resist me riding through him. So I'm going to have to poop in the car. Sorry, I ain't going to make it to the crib, but I ain't getting shot by this cop because I failed to respect authority for authority's sake. So it would be great if people would just say, I respect you because of who you are and you being a human being and all of that stuff. But there's an element in our society that don't operate like that. They only recognize the smackdown. It's some kids that only recognize that. So if you see it in kids, and I ain't talking about no older kids where they got this going on, you can start seeing that in young kids, 2 and 3. They'll sit back and watch how people of authority respond. And if they see that, hey, I can get away with stuff, they'll do it. So sometimes you got to spank them legs and then they realize, whoa, that's where the buck stops. So these folks out there, they'll remove the cops, remove the guns from these guys right there, and they expect the criminals to just respect the fact that they got security ambassadors walking around observing their criminality. Look at that. Standing right there in front of it.
Take a look as two guys go after each other on the street in West Hollywood.
This dude's
and
got
then
a
notice
bird's eye
the
view.
other two guys, block by block ambassadors, watching it play out without stepping in.
Look at that.
Depending on who you ask, this either shows the city's security program working, or, as Ethan Reynolds, who took the video, thinks,
I was like, ooh, this doesn't look too good.
Pee Wee Herman.
it shows a family.
Y'all see Pee Wee? Excuse me. Excuse me. Excuse me. No, nobody hit me to that, dude. So you see Pee Wee? Pee Wee done took him some video footage. But Pee Wee got some sense. That's right. So let's continue hearing from Pee Wee.
The video does appear to show one of the ambassadors on a phone or walkie-talkie, maybe calling for help. And if that's the case, the mayor's office told me that's exactly what's expected to happen.
That's
but
it?
Reynolds says anyone can call 911.
Yeah.
If the block by block ambassadors are not empowered to mitigate situations like this, which do seem to occur often in West Hollywood, it truly does give us a false sense of security. And I think that's extremely frustrating as a resident.
Excuse me, I'm trying to use the phone. All right, so now y'all, Pee Wee is smarter than the folks at City Council. He's like, man, that mess ain't working. These dudes had a full-blown brawl right in front of the security ambassadors. Now, do you think that would have taken place if those two security ambassadors would have had some Smith & Wessons on their side? It's me, my partner, and then there's Smith & Wesson. Okay, you don't want to meet them. You don't want to meet Smith & Wesson. So all they can do is watch it go down. It's hilarious.
Lingering frustration for some. Last June, with some controversy, the city council voted to reduce the number of deputies and has since been steadily increasing the number of unarmed.
Oh, look at that guy. You see that guy? He looks intimidating. Out of shape, got a mushroom on top of his head and walking around. I guess people are supposed to look at him and say, that guy looks like he'll put the smack down. Please, he can't even get a proper haircut.
Security ambassadors. There are now 85 in WeHo, and we did spot them all over. But some locals say last year the city saw violent crime spike, a fatal shooting at an upscale apartment complex, a terrifying follow home, a blatant street robbery. And some say this kind of response,
you look at it and you can go, Jesus, come on, jump in there, do something.
Doesn't seem quite adequate.
Whatever the policy is that's in place that made them react the way that they reacted has to be changed.
The mayor's office directed us to the city's website.
No. It's not the policy. It's the people. That's what they're not getting. They're only doing this job because there's people who put them in charge of this mess. Not only did they put them in charge of walking around and observing crime, these are the folks that made sure all they had was whistles, backups, and said, don't get involved. Just observe and call backup. So now, all they are is narcs. I mean, everybody that observed the crime could do exactly what these folks did. Watch it and call the real cops. No difference. So that means I could be a security ambassador. Anybody out there. This goes to show California's mentality. So guys, My point is, if these folks move from California and come to some states that got some sense, y'all should be coming because of stupidity like this and recognizing, let's not bring that stupidity with us.
For the policy. It clarifies the role as, among other things, conducting safety escorts and responding to nonviolent calls.
Safety escorts and responding to nonviolent calls.
And some agree there is value to a uniformed presence.
It's kind of like chicken soup. It couldn't hurt.
Now, see, there you go. That's how you get stupid policies right there, okay? See, she's saying it's like chicken soup with those big ears. Talking about it could hurt. I'm sorry. I couldn't let the big ears go, y'all. As soon as I saw it, I said, boy, she looks like she got some Vulcan ears right there. May you live long and prosper. But nonetheless, big eared lady right there said it's like chicken soup, y'all. It can't hurt. Yes, it can. That guy who's breaking that car in that fight that took place, somebody got hurt. All of that money that's going towards those 85 non-armed security ambassadors that's just walking around, Could have went somewhere else. Could have went to like real cops. See, so here she is. That sounds noble and all. It couldn't hurt. Yes, it could, and it did.
The more eyes watching, the better off we are.
But Reynolds says nowadays, eyes and ears aren't enough.
Thank you.
If it's just a secondary step for providing true intervention, I just don't see the point.
Thank you, Pee-wee. Man, Pee-wee got more sense than the rest of them. It's like a big needle that keeps on knitting and knitting and knitting. Thank you, Pee-wee.
Now, West Hollywood's mayor has told me in the past it's about getting boots on the ground to de-escalate situations without violence.
How did those boots standing there watching those two men have a Donnybrook in the middle of the street de-escalate anything? Nothing. These dudes didn't even walk over in proximity. Now imagine two dudes sitting there about to fight and they look over and say, two armed police officers standing there. They both would say, let's take this fight somewhere else, buddy. But not those guys. They were not even remotely intimidated by those security ambassadors. Stupidity of Cali, y'all.
Santa Monica Boulevard in West Hollywood is busy and popular with restaurants and clubs, but just a few feet away, three people had a terrifying confrontation.
They were robbed by suspects, one with what appeared to be an assault rifle. I would just reporter Rob Hayes joined us from West Hollywood with the alarming video. Rob?
Well, it's one thing to be held up by gunpoint, but when that gun appears to be an assault rifle, it could be even more traumatizing. And now some North or West Hollywood residents are worried crimes like this are going to become more common.
Oh, yeah. They will become more common because of the stupid people that run that city and that state. So now we got an imaginary gun that they done made up called an assault rifle. But nonetheless, they said that these people got robbed by one. Now, isn't that strange? I thought having very strict and tough gun laws would prevent anybody from obtaining an assault rifle, except for the criminals. How did these law-abiding citizens right here in California get these assault rifles? You think they went into a shop and said, excuse me, I'm a criminal. Now I want to purchase an assault rifle to go out there and rob some of the non-criminal folks. They probably got them somewhere off the streets. But yet, these same dumb politicians will disarm the population and allow these criminals to do this.
From the front, West Hollywood's La Boheme looks like a place to kick back and relax, but behind it, just the opposite. This surveillance video, the alley adjacent to the restaurant, shows thugs armed with what looks like an assault rifle robbing passersby.
Wow, how embarrassing is that? You out with your lady on the first date. How'd you like the wine? Oh, it was great. The chicken, yeah. Well, let's go. It's been a wonderful night. Get on the ground. Now you got to get there and be just, emasculated while they take you and your girl's wallet. Give me the purse, lady, and gone. The night you know how uncomfortable that ride home would be. You in the car, first date, then got robbed, riding home quiet. Are you okay? Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I'm pretty mad about it too. See, so there we have it. They're robbing out there in Cali, and this is in what, Hollywood?
Nobody was hurt, thank goodness, and the sheriffs are actively investigating.
But some West Hollywood residents and business owners are pointing to this case as another result of the city's move to defund its law enforcement. Last summer, the West Hollywood City Council voted to cut 4 LA County Sheriff's deputies from its force.
You see that big round table of stupidity right there. So now look at that big word right there. Security ambassador, y'all. Halt. I'm a security ambassador. Stop it. So let's see what's going on here and see how.
In return, the city has boosted the number of what it calls security ambassadors.
Yeah.
How you doing? 85 of the unarmed ambassadors now.
That guy sounded about 13 years old. About 13 years old. How you doing? Good grief.
Walking the streets.
There's more eyes who are noticing what's happening, lots more calls, but less arms and legs to respond to the calls.
West Hollywood business owner Larry Block says the city council needs to return funding it cut from the sheriff's department to get more deputies on the beat.
Armed people can do something. They're intimidating. The security ambassadors walk around aimlessly, not really knowing what to do.
Hello, how's everything going today?
Hey, how's everything going today? That's the job, to be host. That's funny. Man, I'm so glad I don't live out in California. I don't see how people still, man, I love all my conservative brothers and sisters out there, but good grief. I mean, I hope y'all don't live in the area where stupidity like this is going on. I would be madder than a mug. Here I am sitting in my shop trying to keep it together. Her business was fine for 30 years, and now we're going belly up because they're just robbing us. And here this guy come in with full-blown mask. Hey, how you doing today? Everything okay? And I just want to say hi. It's a great day, isn't it? Don't come here talking to me, man. I mean, if you can't stop the crime that's going on. Somebody said they found me. Yeah. See, there it is, y'all. It's KC 2.3. Okay. So now let's finish in what the security officer got to say with this big old funky mask on his face.
Priority for us is safety, and we are safer than we have been in the past.
So there's the head dummy. Y'all see the head dummy? We are safer than we were in the past. Priority is safety. Now, I wonder if she felt unsafe at her probably very nice guarded mansion or wherever she lives. I wonder if she would feel okay with having folks guarding her with no guns. And you think her priority would be safety by disarming her? Hey, look, I'm a very important person and I got a family to protect and everything, but I don't want you walking around with guns. They're unnecessary. I want security ambassadors surrounding me and see how that deters people. So here the dummy is. That's the main dummy, guys.
But Eyewitness News took a look at West Hollywood robberies going all the way back to 2010, and it's not that simple. Robberies here increased last year compared to 2020 and 2021.
Not according to the
and
dummy.
while lower than many previous years, 2022 is still higher than the 13-year average of 117.
Crime is going to happen. It's a sad state of our country right now.
No, it's not. Don't blame it on the country. Don't blame it on the country. No, I'm going to blame it on the dummies. That's what I'm going to blame it on. She's trying to talk about, hey, man, look, it is what it is. It's greater than us. Crime is on the rise. It's the state of the country. No, it's not the state of the country. Why do things change? There's always a reason. I mean, you can't be that stupid to not look at what has worked and what has not. What have we done? If you make a meal and something tastes nasty, you sitting there like I'm expecting my spaghetti and meatballs to come out tasting like Chef Boyardee, and it tastes like razzmatazz, you gotta ask yourself, what did I miss? I mean, did I leave out an ingredient? It used to taste good, but now it doesn't. And if I duplicate the same thing, I should get the same results. So if I change up something, trying to be fancy, you know what? I think I might add some mustard to this sauce right here. Don't be mad when everybody's face implodes when they take a bite. So now here she is. Hey, it's greater than us. Things it's the public. People are changing. Nope. Humans have been this way from the dawn of time, from the time Cain and Abel got into that squabble. And folks start realizing, man, somebody need to pay a price. So if folks don't feel like there's no threat, the population that says, good, we're lawless, we love it like that, remove all of the consequences and see what happens.
Especially with the lack of gun control and guns rampant everywhere.
There you go. You hear her blaming gun control, the lack of gun control and guns everywhere. Well, you know where guns aren't? The guns aren't in the hands of your law-abiding citizens that's getting robbed out there in California. See, what would deter those guys right there from robbing those folks? If they felt like, wow, do you see that everybody on this street has one, or at least has the ability to have one? So the only folks that's going to say, I'm going to choose not to be armed, even though I can be armed, okay, that's fine. But when you're in a state that you know that, man, any one of these people could have a weapon. Not only that, but if I do find a couple folks that don't have a weapon and I rob them, guess what? When the boys catch up with me, it's going to be a problem. We're going to have us an old school shootout. That's what we're going to have. Cops and Roberts all over again. These are the things that run through people who have just a tendency for crime, but they got enough common sense to say, but I don't want to deal with the consequences of breaking the law. You're going to have that element that says consequences be damned. Those are the ones that need to see, what are you going to do to stop me? And if you don't show me that, I'm going to do it. And that's what's happening right there.
We prioritize safety, so our city is safe, and I want people to know that.
She said it's safe, and she want people to know that. Now, we just saw a montage of all those people like, man, I don't feel safe. Things crazy out here in Cali. They robbing, they shooting. Feel like we in the wild, wild west. The wild. I used to go downtown. Now you can't go nowhere down there. So look at this bum. This probably going to run for president real soon. Look at him. Just nothing but a slick, slimy, oily politician. That's what he looks like. So let's see how he sees California, because he'd probably try to turn the whole country into California.
California, your state, our state. That offers a reason for hope. Someone said this years ago about our state: there's no soil better adapted. I love that. No soil better adapted to liberty and opportunity, the sense of possibility, than here in our home state, California.
Shocking announcement today as we learn that Nordstrom plans to close its 2 Market Street locations in San Francisco. One is the Anchor department store inside Westfield Center, and the other is the neighboring Nordstrom Rack location.
The shuttering comes amid a slew of other announced retail closures in the area, including Office Depot, the Container Store, Anthropology, and Saks Off Fifth.
So what you telling me those folks out in California is kind of crazy? Now they got to order all this stuff off of Amazon? Gavin, you just got up to talking about ours and nowhere better adaptable, you know what, and speaks hope and not all that stuff. And Nordstrom's leaving, Home Depot. You got to go back to the old school. We gotta go ahead and start melting rock so we can form our own chainsaws and hatchets and stuff. We got to build our tools because we can't go to Home Depot. So before we even do something, we got to first build the tools or order them from somewhere else and have them shipped to the crib. That's crazy right there. Now, this is San Francisco, out there where Nasty Nancy dwells. But yeah, she ran around for the last 4 years. Where's Donald Trump? You know what? We're going to lock him up, because that's what she did. And Gavin Newsom, his butt, ran around out there eating dinner with his rich friends while the whole city and the whole country, state rather, is falling apart.
San Francisco Whole Foods flagship, which opened along Market in March of 2022, also announced a temporary closure last month, citing worker safety. Westfield, the mall where Nordstrom is located, sent me this statement which places blame squarely on crime, saying in part, the closure underscores the deteriorating situation in downtown San Francisco and blamed retailers and businesses for leaving the area due to unsafe conditions.
Join us in California.
No, my brother, you got to keep your own. Y'all see that? Dems. That's how they feel, man. So they do not love law and order, y'all. They don't love it at all. Unfortunate. And that is a reflection of all of their cities across the United States. See, all you have to do is have just one brain cell to say, what do all these cities and states have in common? The crime goes up. Folks who run those cities, soft on crime. So now either they're doing this on purpose to destabilize those states and cities, hoping it catches on, as they blame other things, other people, other, concepts. You know what? It's just because folks' mentality has changed. No. People still recognize consequences. That's what's been with mankind from the beginning. Okay, folks will recognize pain. There you go. You think little kids understand what would happen to them if they run out in the street and they're 5 chasing a ball? You think they know the physics behind, my little teeny body at 25, 30 pounds As that car is moving at 40 miles per hour, if it hits anything that's about my size, it could result in a... No, they don't understand none of that stuff. They just see my ball roll down the street and I'm going to get it. The parent sees the danger. So trying to reason with the kid and explain the concept of motion, physics, impact, all of that mess, you just say, don't go out in the street if the ball rolls. Now, if the kid don't understand that and he goes a running anyway, he will understand this. That right there will be the first thing pop in his mind. He'll make the connection real quick. Oh, there's my ball. Oh, wait a minute. I remember this. As he gets older and more mature, he'll recognize why mom and them said don't run out in the street. But until he could do that, he needs to know. And this is what you get in those cities because there's no... That's why these cities are imploding. So the Dems don't like law and order, and they, guess what? Don't like the kids. Who doesn't like children? Now, when I say they don't like kids, it's not because they just straight coming out like, we don't like kids. They're pretending to like kids. But you cannot like kids if you're willing to support the nonsense we're about to listen to and observe. So here's Whoopi Goldberg with that big old grown man voice and those doo-doo braids and her hair, trying to chastise folks that disagrees with what they're trying to do to kids in education.
This is a party that says we believe in parents' rights.
Parents' rights.
You're telling me that as a parent, I'm not smart enough to decide if my child and I need to have gender affirming, or doctors are not involved. What is going on? So I can't decide what my kid reads. I can't decide for my child what my child says is going on.
Now, can you be that dumb? Can you be that dumb? Can you have a deep voice like that? First of all, is even a grown man? You know what? Now, granted, I don't want people to come back later. All right, that was not Whoopi's real voice. He altered their voice, and therefore it's this and misinformation. No, I mean, you know. Okay, I'm letting you know. I altered her voice. But she's not far off of that. She's not far off of that. So you hear rocks in the voice? You hear Wolfman Jack? Huh? So here she's talking about, you know what? Why can't the kids read what they want to read? The parents can't. Yeah. No, nobody's saying that. If you want to raise your kid recklessly, all you got to do is simply say, well, when my kid get home, I'm taking them to the library and we're going to pick out whatever book. I'm going to talk to my kids about whatever. Nobody's banning a book. See, these are the lies that these folks spread because they're trying to get a way into kids. So now you got to make up stuff. Make it seem like these books are being banned because of bigotry. And when you ban a book, that means nobody can read it. It's not available any place. But when you say age appropriation, we're not going to allow these kids to read it. Now, if you want to let your kid read it on their own time, knock yourself out. But we ain't going to let you do that. And then she's trying to slide in some, and you know what? You trying to tell folks that they parents can't see what's going on the inside and gender affirmation on the inside. You got to be one dumb parent to let your kid dictate to you what quote unquote gender they are. Now, even a grown man over 18, if you come to me telling me that, I'm still not going to validate that because I know it's nonsense. But you're 18. What can I do? I can't stop you. However, if you are a kid and you are talking about that, a life-changing decision, and you up here talking about, I want my kid to feel safe and I want him to feel affirmed, so let's go ahead and do it. Was this reversible? Well, kind of. Maybe. We don't know the results yet. It's still an experimentation stage. Why would you do that? That's ridiculous, man. But yet these folks are the ones out here pushing it. So you can't love kids when you say, let you do that. And hopefully it all works out. And I ain't talking about just that. There are a lot of decisions that a young adult could make that can permanently mess up their life. And if a parent who's supposed to be the words of wisdom, who's supposed to be the person who compensates for the lack of wisdom for a kid, if the parent says absolutely. If your kid come home and he's 14, he's talking about, I'm thinking about trying cocaine. Oh, you know what? That's your choice. let you live out your truth. I just want to let you know that it could result in some day. No, you don't do that. That could take that kid's life in a whole different direction. So really, if you're dumb enough to let your kid do that, you're part of the problem as well. But the problem is society and these folks are supporting it by lying about this, first of all, and then by demonizing the parents, saying, if you don't do this, your kid might commit suicide.
You're telling your beliefs, and they keep saying it, and I keep saying, what Bible are you reading?
Yeah. What Bible are you reading? You hear rocks and the voice gets spiritual. Which is funny, because if she read the Bible, she wouldn't be saying what she's saying. So here she is. I just keep saying, what Bible are you? I want to know, Rocks, what Bible are you reading? Huh, Cushion? Cushion needs to explain. Is it the book of Seth? Something like that? The book of Satan? So let's go ahead and see what she's talking about, because these Christians, I guess, she's assuming that everybody who disagrees with this, obviously, is Christian. You just can't be a regular common sense human being that says that's ridiculous. You got to be a Christian.
Because God was really clear.
God was really clear. You got to love them. You got to love them and hate what they're doing at the same time. So here she is, because God was really clear. Was he? Did anybody read that passage that says, thou shalt let thy children decide outside of what I have created their own gendereth? Anybody read that one? So God was really clear. What? I think right now Satan's really clearly using the cushion. Dems don't love the kids.
Who cares more about a child's education, the teachers union or the child's parents?
I would say that Mr. Jordan or Representative Jordan, teachers, parents and teachers care about kids. Obviously, parents care about their own kids more than probably anyone else. Yeah. But teachers and parents are real partners in children's education.
Why'd you repost and praise the op-ed that was in the Washington Post? Parents claim they have the right to shape their kids' school curriculum. They don't. And you posted that and you said this was a great piece that people should read.
Well, I did that because I'm really a fascist, even though I'm sure I'll call everybody else an extremist and a fascist and all of that stuff. But really, we want control of your kids. Now, this lady, I guess, is the public school board council or something like that. And she's really an activist. Now, they put her in charge, I guess, and her lifestyle is a reflection, just right off grip. You can tell just by basically her lifestyle. You can tell she's an activist. She's married to a woman. They, I guess, have kids. She pushed the whole shut down the school narrative. She's really working for the Democrat Party and trying to push policies and stuff that, one, appeals to the board, not the board, but the school unions, and two, the Democrat Party's overall agenda when it comes down to kids. And she's about to get exposed big time, y'all.
Head of Teachers Union praises op-ed claiming parents don't have a right to shape their kids' curriculum. You really believe that?
The headline of that op-ed was not appropriate compared to the actual work in that op-ed. The work in that op-ed talked about, if you actually read that op-ed.
You disagree with the headline then?
No, I disagreed with the headline. The work in that op-ed talked about how parents and teachers have to have a role in kids' education.
So should the headline...
Got to have a role in kids' education. Now, see, that sounds good in theory. But when it actually is manifested and it steps on the toes of their agenda, then it becomes a problem. That's how you end up on an FBI list as a potential domestic terrorist, see? Because, see, it's okay when you come in and say, that's great that you guys have transgenders coming in to show the kids that they should be more inclusive and they should... See, it's great when you're that parent, when you're one of the dumb ones. But when you come in and say, hey, man, the circus, because I saw somebody dressed up like a clown in my kid's room, what's going on in there? Oh, well, we thought we'd have a transgender come in and talk to your kids about the transgender on the bus that goes round and round. That's what you thought? Did a note come home? Did a permission slip slide through? I don't understand. Nothing? Y'all just made this decision? Or Your kid come home second grade. I read a book today, Dad, about these two boys that was out at camp kissing. And what kind of freakiness? Did you get that book from one of your friends? No, the teacher gave it to us. What? So now you have a problem when folks get wind of that. So they only want the parents involved that is supporting their agenda. Okay. But the ones that says, whoa, nah, man, they don't like that.
Line of red, parents claim they have a right to shape their kids' school curriculum. They do? Should that have been what the headline said?
I don't, Mr.
Well, let me just ask you
I don't-
straightforward. Just let me ask straightforward. Do parents have a right to shape their kids' curriculum?
Parents have a right to have a role in their kids' curriculum, yes.
There you go. Now, notice what she said, have a right to have a role. Well, what's that role? Yeah. Sometimes you got to flesh it out. Sometimes you got to dig a little deeper. Ask some other questions. Don't let them get away with just the surface mess they throw out there. Parents do have a role, a right to have a role, meaning a supportive role. See, just like they want folks that have parents that will affirm their kids who want to go through that process. I guarantee you, if they knew all of their parents in the school district was supportive of their kids, feeling like they want to be something or not, they wouldn't talk about, well, we need to silence the parents. We need to make sure the kids don't tell the parents and this and this and that. It wouldn't be a problem. They would be sending home information like, congratulations, your little second grader today said that he thinks he's a she. And the parents would rush down and celebrate it and say, now let's all get together and come up with a plan so we can help the transition process. See, they wouldn't need to start trying to be sneaky if they felt all the parents was okay with it. So they're creating all of the sneaky secret stuff. That's why they were getting caught having big old meetings and stuff during COVID, talking about, now we can't let the parents know the curriculum. There's a reason why they were doing that. Because they know that most parents would say, nah, man, what do you mean my kid made this choice and we felt you wouldn't support it, so we allowed your kid to go through with it without your permission? Folks would have an egg, and they know that. And so they got to revert to these sneaky, dirty tactics and demonizing the parents just because they don't agree with it.
Who are the extremist politicians? You did 25 pages of your written testimony. You had 14 pages. Your law firm had, I think, the other 11. And right at the end of the main body of your written testimony, before you get into the issue of today about the consultation you guys had with the CDC, you say in this last paragraph, attacks by extremist politicians have undermined teachers in schools. Who are the extremist politicians?
I think you just heard one, sir.
So Ms. Green's one of them.
I think, look.
Okay, that's.
I think you just heard one, sir. So she says Marjorie Taylor Greene is an extremist. Now, see, you see the games they play? If you want to try to discredit a group of people that disagrees with you, you just say it's because they're extremists. Now, I thought these are common sense things, but yet, according to her, they're extreme. So we need to go ahead and have Marjorie speak for herself to find out what's so extreme about Marjorie's views and how she feels.
I think the issue is the culture wars that are going on in schools right now.
Like
banning books, undermining teachers.
There it is.
How about this statement?
Banning books, undermining teachers. Nobody's banning books, lady. Age appropriate books. Age appropriate. And it just doesn't have to just revolve around stuff that talks about sexuality. There's probably quite a few books out there that got some stuff. And if I go in and I see the book of Satan, I probably would say, I don't think the kids should be reading this. And you don't have to be a Christian to disagree with that. I just don't think kids should be reading how to have seances and mess like that. So this woman is trying to make it seem like that banning books without going into the details of what books and why. And yet, thank you. Somebody said, and they banned Dr. Seuss. I do like green eggs and ham. That's right. So these are the folks that will say this book has some origin in racism, so we got to ban it. It shows that the great-great-great-great-grandfather of this author owned one slave, so we got to throw the whole book out. Yep, and To Kill a Mockingbird, how can you? But yet, these are the same folks. They will boycott those type of books, but then say that if you don't want a book that's showing explicit pictures of kids doing things, then you're an extremist.
I don't think parents should be telling schools what to teach.
Man, that's
You
extreme.
just told me a few minutes ago you didn't agree with that sentiment. Is that a statement from, that's a statement from a politician. Is that extremist?
I believe that parents have to have a role in kids' education. And in fact, when I was teaching at Clara Barton High School, we had parent engagement all the time.
Who said this
I
statement?
would bring, if you want me to finish, I'll finish.
Oh.
I, like so many other teachers, used to do, I was a high school social studies teacher. I know you were a wrestling coach. I was a high school social studies teacher.
Yep. My wife taught our kids went to public school. We appreciate good teachers.
Yeah,
My coach,
no.
my high
Shut
school
her down,
coach,
Jim.
had a
I
huge
mean,
impact on my life.
I know, and I honor that.
Same here.
But we, so what I would do, and so many other teachers.
But I
do
asked
as
you
well.
a specific question. I don't think parents should.
You hear her going round and round that mulberry bush. I say, pop goes speed, so pop goes speed. Now, she's trying to make herself seem all embracive and inclusive, and I do believe parents should support our policies and our agenda. We encourage that. We just don't encourage the ones that disagree. So as she tried to deflect, Jim gets her back on track because she's saying, extremists, y'all. We're extreme.
Should be telling schools what to teach. Do you know who made that statement?
I don't know.
September 28, 2021, candidate for governor in the state of Virginia. You know who made that statement?
I don't, are you talking about Mr. McAuliffe?
I am talking about Mr. McAuliffe. He made that statement.
And what happened? See, that's the message she should be getting from this through context clues. Folks don't want your extreme views. Now, y'all might get away with it by sneaking it in and being quiet and hoping that the parents aren't involved in their kids' education and y'all can just have your way with them. But once they find out, they don't like it. So they all rush down there and say, oh, that's how you feel, governor? Well, we're going to show you how we feel, governor.
Is that extremist? Is that an extremist political statement?
In fact, what I did, Mr. Jordan, was when I heard that
No, we know what you did. You endorsed him and did a six-figure ad buy. Your organization did 18 days later.
When I did...
Jim's beating up on a girl, man. Okay? Now, that goes to show that's equal. See, it's equal. It's equality. Y'all want some equality? Here it is right here. Jim Jordan versus this girl, man. So he's working her over / him. I don't know which she's probably binary, gender neutral or something. Here we go.
Mr. Jordan, is when I heard that statement, I called Mr. McAuliffe and I told him I disagreed with him.
But it wasn't enough to get you to not do a six-figure ad buy for his campaign.
Well, what the ad buy did was do what we thought Mr. McAuliffe was, which was
That
really
same paragraph,
supportive
that same paragraph
of
on page
teachers
12. I just got a
and
minute.
parents.
We thought what Mr. McClough was, which was real supportive of the teachers and our agenda and our big socialist agenda. That's what it was. Yeah, you probably recognize he said something that was unpopular that ignited a flame. So you had to act like, well, yeah, you shouldn't have said that. Okay. But we know that. We know that, but we can't just say stuff like that. Now, we gonna drop you this money though, because we still want you to get in. Because see, this other dude, if he get in, he ain't gonna let us do all that mess. That's what happened. So Jim had to go ahead and flush that out, but he's out of time. So now he got to tag out and bring in Marjorie Taylor Greene, okay, to defend herself. Because we just sat back and listened to this lady, man, got the nerve to call Marjorie Taylor Greene extreme.
A minute. Same paragraph on page 12. You say most Americans disapprove of the culture wars that have saturated education policy. Who started the culture wars?
I know that when you have banning of books, like
That's not the question. That's not the question. This girl, man, right here, got the nerve to be, oh boy, yeah, how am I gonna weasel out of this one? I do know when you ban books, they get banned. That's the culture war? That's it? Who started this mess? Who drew first blood? Wasn't us. Where's my Rambo knife? They drew. Probably put it up somewhere. I usually keep it on my hip just in case. Here we go.
a book about
Well, let me
Anne
ask you-
Frank,
let me ask you this-
like a book
question.
about Roberto Clemente, like a book about Ruby Bridges. That's wrong.
Those
That
who think,
was
let me
in-
ask you this,
those things were in
those
Florida.
who think boys should compete against boys in sports, or those who think boys can compete against girls in sports, which side started the culture war?
Oh, there it is. Now you just witnessed domestic violence. My man Jim just beat up a girl, man. So now, that's a good question. They always say when they want to silence us because we regurgitated what they try to feed us as far as changing the culture. What they say is, no, you guys started this. You guys, because you recognize that little boys shouldn't be in little girls' bathrooms. You guys are trying to bring this whole culture war thing into this. No. For all the dawn of time, there's been 2 different bathrooms. Which group now wants to change that in our culture? Did we one day just wake up out of nowhere and just say, you know what? We decided, even though this isn't even a problem, nobody's running around trying to push this. We're just going to go ahead and start fussing about things that aren't even happening in our society. Making up stuff. You think it was us that's just imagining these grown men breaking all these women's records and jumping in their sports? We're just imagining it because we want to fight. We want to, get into this culture. You think these parents that's been going to these school board meetings, just taking time out of their day, calling off from work, just to go down there and fuss about things that aren't even happening in the culture? Usually when people reject something, it's because something has changed and drastically have changed and rapidly have changed enough to where that you don't even allow the people to kind of smoothly figure it out later. It's so abrupt, so in your face, so extreme that even folks that maybe are somewhat liberal would say, what? Okay, yep, no, we can't have that. So they created all of this mess because these are the folks supporting every single thing in our culture that has changed, and they're shoving it down our throats. When people reject it, then you guys are picking on us.
Of those positions.
Sir, I am talking about, when I talk about the culture wars, I am talking about things like book banning.
That's it?
I'm talking about things like stopping teachers from teaching honest history.
No, nobody's stopping teachers from teaching curriculum. How about this A, B, C, D, E, F, G? And I ain't talking about the alphabet community. I'm talking about the real alphabet. Stick with that, you can't go wrong. How about 1 + 1 = 2? How about the knee bones connected to the thigh bone? The thigh bones connected to the hip bone. Drop some of that on. You can even throw in a video. I'm just a bill. Yeah, I'm only a bill. And I'm headed up the Capitol Hill. You can even do that. But when you start bringing in folks talk about transgender or the bus goes round and round, that's not education. It's indoctrination. And I don't care what that person is reading. It's not what you really are projecting on those kids. It's not about what the guy's reading. It's about what message the guy is sending, because that's a confusing message. So now you got a second or first grader or kindergartner sitting there looking at a guy who's pretending to be a girl, and they obviously know this is a guy. The message, it's not what you're reading. They're more focused on, why is this guy dressed like a girl? Okay, I'm curious. Excuse me, mister, why are you dressed like that? I'm glad you asked. That's why you're bringing these guys in. So don't give me this bull crap talking about something, you know what? They should be allowed to teach what they teach. No, we wouldn't be here if they were teaching what they were supposed to teach, lady, man.
Is it starting a culture war if you think literature should be age appropriate? That's not
I believe that literature should be age appropriate too.
Miss Weingarten, are you a medical doctor?
I am not.
Oh!
Are you a mother?
I am a mother by marriage.
What?
By marriage, I see.
Wait a minute. So wait, let me see. So Marjorie Taylor Greene came off the ropes with one of these, first of all. Somebody said, look into why this form have the cash icon, doesn't have the cash icon. That's a good question. Oh, I think I haven't hit 1,000 followers on this one yet. So maybe I'm not able to be monetized on this channel. Maybe that might be it. I don't know. However, if you are interested in supporting the channel, and besides, it's great if you do, you always can send it right to my Cash App or my PayPal, because then this way YouTube don't even get it cut. Because I appreciate the live chats and the super chats, but YouTube, they beat you for like almost, I don't know how much. It's like 60%, something crazy. So if you can't find that little button, you're always welcome to, donate to the channel and support the channel through my Cash App and my PayPal. Oh, also, Someone sent me a mailbox blessing, so hopefully if she's watching this, I want to say thank you so much. I appreciate it every time. And she gives some wonderful words of encouragement, so I appreciate that. One of these days, if she give me the okay to reveal who she is and read one of her wonderful, wonderful encouragements, I will do that. Now, let's get back to Marjorie Taylor Greene beating up this woman. So she starts off asking her, first of all, are you a doctor? No. See, now you know the agenda. So let me understand, just like Bill Gates is not a doctor, and he was forcing stuff on folks, or at least promoting it, just like the folks in the White House, just like the folks at YouTube aren't a doctor, but yet they will tell doctors what to do and this and that, because see, it wasn't about whether you were qualified during that time. And you know what time I'm talking about, the time that we just had to endure for 3 years. It's not about whether you're qualified in fields. It's about whether you are complicit in our agenda and you support it. That's your qualification. Do you support our agenda? And if so, we'll give you an honorary doctorate degree. So this woman was all in the mix of this whole should kids return to school thing. Now, what does she have to do with that whole process? Why are you meeting with the CDC to discuss these matters? I mean, are all school board folks allowed to do that? I mean, this is unbelievable. What gave her that type of authority and power? Oh, the Democrats who full-blown co-opted all of these agencies. So now Marjorie Taylor Greene, MJ, is about to get it all in her mix. So this lady just says, yes, I have a child through marriage. So her husband got some kids? That's nice.
And my wife is here with me, so.
Hold on. Wait a minute. Did she just say my wife is here with me? So wait. So you got married and you're to a woman and she has kids, and now you're saying those kids are your kids through marriage? I don't know about that. What's this strange relationship? Dun, 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 dun. So now this strange relationship causes this lady right here to feel that she has kids now.
I'm really glad that she's here. Rabbi Sharon Klein.
Miss Weingarten, and you haven't taught school since the 90s, so you're not a teacher anymore.
I am actually, Representative, I'm actually on leave from my teaching position, and this fall I will be teaching as a guest teacher at Cornell, my alma mater.
When was the last year you taught? 1997, is that correct?
The last time I taught a full class was June 1997.
Okay, that's been quite a long time, approximately 26 years ago. Do you believe in the First Amendment, Ms. Weingarten?
I believe in the Constitution, including the First Amendment, of course.
Lies, all lies. Talking about I believe in the Constitution, including the First Amendment, of course. Democrats don't believe in that First Amendment. Are you kidding me? They try to silence speech constantly. So here she is, yes, I do, of course. Well, we're about to find out. Because you know Marjorie Taylor Greene is going somewhere with that. She set her up. But because the woman, don't know how to get in the ring, Marjorie hit her with the fake, and she went for it, opening herself up for the straight right. Here it comes.
Oh, great. Well, I'd like to remind you of one of your tweets here where you agreed that my suspension on Twitter, in your own words, politicians shouldn't be exempt from standards about spreading misinformation.
Oh.
Green has repeatedly shown reckless disregard for those standards. This suspension is justified. This is your tweet. Just last year, January 2nd, 2022, I was suspended for my statements about COVID-19 as a member of Congress, by the way. And also, I'd like to point out by the emojis by your name here, it looks like you're more of a political activist than anything.
This is why I love Marjorie Taylor Greene. She don't hold no punches. Everything she throws is full speed and hard. Nothing but bolos. She's bringing it, all the body into it. Everything. Love it. And they call this extreme. So let me understand. The person who celebrated a congresswoman being silenced on a platform that's supposed to be free speech says she supports the First and Second Amendment. I'm quite sure if a parent got on there and said, I disagree with what you guys are doing with these kids in the schools and all of that stuff, she would probably say, I'm glad those parents are shut up. I'm glad those parents are banned. I'm glad those parents are removed from this platform. They shouldn't be out there saying those things because it's hate speech. You have to agree with us, and then we'll celebrate your freedom of speech. But if that's not the case, your freedom of speech stops right there. Your freedom of speech gets the brakes pumped on it soon as it butts heads with our agenda.
Clearly, unfortunately, you think Ukraine comes before the United States. I'm not sure what the black flex is. I mean, is that digital blackface? But congratulations on graduating from school. But I'd like to
No, it is about honoring Black.
Miss Weingarten, I reclaim my time. I didn't ask you a question.
Didn't even let her virtue signal. That's how you get, didn't even let her wind up for another. All she could do was just cover up the vital organs while Marjorie's working those ribs. It's about that black. Look, reclaiming my time. I ain't got to hear all that mess. Okay, it's about the indigenous people, the people of the motherland and the Zulu tribe nations we love so much. All of that stupidity. Shut that mess down. And she's about to end her.
So what I'd like to talk about is your recommendations to the CDC as not a medical doctor, not a biological mother, and really not a teacher either.
Yeah, what
you did is you advised the CDC.
Mr. Chairman, that's a
the ref.
Excuse me, this is my time.
That's why I love her. This is why I love her. So you see the ref try to jump in and stop that mess? She was like, you see I got her on the ropes. Why are you trying to get in here and run cover for her? I'm about to completely smash those ribs all the way up. So, Mr. Chairman, excuse me. I'm reclaiming my time. Let's get back to you. Don't you go nowhere, lady man.
You advised the CDC to have schools provide remote work options for staff that have documented high-risk conditions who are increased risk for severe illness from COVID-19 to limit the risk of workplace exposure. Telework, virtual teaching opportunities, modified job responsibilities, environmental modifications, scheduling flexibility, temporary reassignments to different job responsibilities. None of your advice had to do with to stop the spread of COVID-19. It was all about teachers staying home. And
there you go. See? Now, what you're doing now that this mess is over is you are bringing up all the receipts. All these people who advocated for this garbage when it was hot. And when you are a white nationalist extremist, if you disagreed or challenged that mess, now the results are in and you got to explain. Couple things. Number one, why were you so adamant about this? What was so important to keep the kids out of school during that time when everything you cited, suggested, had nothing to do with keeping these kids safe? The most least vulnerable population. Y'all talking about, no, we got to keep them safe. Oh, yeah, and the teachers too. We got to keep them all safe, and this and that. The ones that most likely would not be impacted by any of that crap, y'all felt that keep them home. But forget that. Those gay bathhouses, let them enjoy themselves. Going out to restaurants that we all eat at. It was all the elite. See, we eat there. My buddy, he got a dinner and things, so I'm going to go and eat there. What? Y'all caught me? Oh, I got to do better. I got to practice what I preach. What? You can't get your hair done, but Nancy Pelosi can. You can't go out and kick it and party unless Raphael Sadiq is there. From Tony Tone, it never rains in Southern California. That's right. They tell me San Francisco out there kicking it. All of that mess. But shut down them churches. Shut down the schools. Shut down all the stuff that really matters. But all that other stuff, leave it wide open. So why was this uneducated lady who is not a scientist flirting around with the CDC? You shouldn't even, I would be like, why are you even calling me? Are you a scientist? Who are you? What's your credentials? We're the CDC. What do you want? Oh, the Democrats sent you?
And there was big results of that. Let me tell you, I am a mother, and all three of my children were directly affected by the school closures, by your recommendations, which is something that you really can't understand. I'd like to point out, let's talk about the real effects of this. Obviously, we know the test results. Oh, and by the way, you celebrating what I had said on Twitter, I had said the children should be in school. I had said the truth, that children were not dying at high rates of COVID-19 like older people were. I had also advocated for our children not for teachers getting to stay home and kids being forced into virtual schooling. I advocated for the safety of our children.
And yet you were silenced for it, Marjorie. That's why you in here right now beating up this woman, man. See, I'm so glad you're getting your revenge on that man, woman, right now in this ring.
And for their education. But you, as a political activist for the president of the teachers union, we're not advocating for anything good for our kids. And our kids have suffered greatly. As a matter of fact, suicides increased. Their rates of learning went down. And you know what else happened to them? Anxiety, depression, all kinds of problems happened to kids. And then ironically, here's something that was shocking to me.
What else? What else? There's more? She ain't finished beating her up? She's not finished ip-manning her? All the way to the ground. Give her some more, Marjorie. So now this lady's forced to look at her destruction path of it that she left behind her. She's rubbing her nose in it. Thank you.
You know what else happened? While kids were forced to stay home, and you approve of this, the diagnosis of youths with gender dysphoria surged. This is literally 2020, but yet this is 2021. And this is a problem. This is a major problem. And the direct effect of school closures can be seen here. These are diagnoses of...
Now, don't you just love when these woke politicians do stuff and then the stats and the results come back and you see all of these surges in negative stuff? It shows you the results of their choices and their policies. All negative. But they'll sit there and tell you we did the right thing, we stopped this, we stopped that, all of that. So everything they do shows negative results, and all you got to do is just bring it right back up to their face. Make them look at it and explain. Why do you think that line on that graph starts to go this way? Because of your choices.
Gender dysphoria. And you can see it sharply increased after 20 and 21. It went up. The rates went up.
She's probably happy over that.
So kids were forced to stay home into so-called virtual learning, where they were spending a lot of time on social media, and all of a sudden we see a direct result of this. And this is a major problem. But the other problem is you had no business advising the CDC what the medical guidelines were for school closures. Because now we have a nation of school children who have suffered because of it. The problem is people like you need to admit that you're just a political activist, not a teacher, not a mother, and not a medical doctor. I mean,
good grief. Girl, I know this might seem strange, but let me know if I'm out of order for stepping to you this way. I love Marjorie. She ain't in there playing around. She's like, man, I come in here to beat somebody down. I want this mess to be a massacre. I want y'all to be talking about this fight for years to come. Man, the one I saw with the back in the day, you remember Marjorie Taylor Greene beat that man woman up? So now here's the man woman. This is the post-fight interview where she's trying to salvage her career because she wanted one day get back in the ring. So now the Democrats are trying to, send her through their marketing firm, CNN, to maybe explain and clean up all the abuse she took in the ring. So here she is.
In retrospect, in hindsight, now that the smoke has cleared, do you regret not pressing for full in-person school sooner?
I regret COVID, and I regret that we didn't know sooner.
There you go. I regret COVID. What does that even mean? I don't know what that means. That's like her getting beat up. I regret getting beat up. I regret the fact that I didn't train enough and I got in there. That's what you should be saying. But instead, I just regret getting beat up. I regret Marjorie Taylor Greene tenderizing my ribs in there. Well, why did you get beat up? Oh, because of the choices you made. So now here she is. She regrets COVID. And what else?
What was key to keeping people safe and keeping schools open?
What was key? Oh, wise one. Oh, scientist. Please tell me what was key. She's up here talking as if she is an epidemiologist, a virologist, something like that. Talking about the key of keeping people safe.
Both of those things were really important. I had many members who died in the first few months in terms of COVID.
What's that got to do with the kids? What that got to do with the kids? And what is many? See, this is the stuff. This is the PR firm trying to give her a platform to speak unchallenged, but they left somebody on the panel that maybe don't like her answer, and it's gonna kind of backfire. So as she's talking about many people, yeah, I knew that lost their lives. All kids? What's the percentage of those kids that were not sick, didn't have any, pre-existing ailments that passed away because of that? Oh, zero. Interesting. So I guess she's talking about just people.
We had members die in New York City. We had many people who got really, really sick. And black and brown folks got more sick than white folks.
No, she didn't. No, she didn't. Y'all hear that? CNN, baby. Yeah, now look, when you come out, we're going to give you a platform to vomit up all of your excuses and lies and propaganda. And now it will help your case if you slide some type of racism or discrimination in to your nonsensical answer. Maybe say that black and brown people are disproportionately impacted by COVID. Don't worry, people won't question it to watch us, okay? They'll just assume that COVID recognizes different races. That's what they'll just expect. I mean, what? They fell for it before when we told them that folks out there protesting were not impacted by it because of racism. But the folks that want to go back to work were super spreaders. There you go. They'll believe it.
So what we were trying to figure out was how to reopen schools and how to do it safely. And the problem is that you already have in city schools bad conditions.
Now, see, this is that moment for her to put on her acting skills. The problem is you already have in city schools bad conditions ran by us. She forgot that part. Ran by us. Folks that we contain in those conditions and won't let them go to schools outside of their district. You mean like that? Huh, man, lady? Unbelievable.
That are hard for teachers to teach in. And what we're trying to do was make sure that they and say.
Now that's racist. Talk about those inner city kids are hard for those teachers to teach it. Well, there's a reason why. There's a reason why when we look at y'all major inner city urban areas ran by y'all, you see repeated behaviors when it comes down to the kids. So don't be sitting back talking about it's hard for the teachers to teach in. How about you disperse all of those kids and let them go to areas where they can see other folks and how they think, okay? Instead of just condensing them all in there, right to one area. Y'all got to go to this school. Oh, y'all think alike? Great. Y'all have the same mentality? Great. Same behavior? Great. Not me. I want to go to that one school out there because I think I'm going to shut your mouth, kid. You get your butt back over there. Okay? You think this right here is a democracy? No. This right here is Jim Crow 2.0, making sure you guys can't go to other schools that you want to go to. That's what's happening in those schools that those teachers have a hard time teaching at.
Families were safe.
Yeah, we don't know each other, but speaking on behalf of millions of American parents, I have 4 at home. I had to teach them at home. My wife had to teach them at home. I am stunned at what you have said this week about your claiming to have wanted to reopen schools. I think you'll find that most parents believe you were the tip of the spear of school closures. There are numerous statements you made over the summer of 20 scaring people to death about the possibility of opening schools. And I hear no remorse whatsoever about the generational damage that's been done to these kids. I have 2 kids with learning differences. Do you know how hard it is for them to learn at home and not in a classroom that was designed for them? And
she didn't see that coming. I bet you right now she's like, CNN, y'all didn't tell me y'all was going to have somebody on this show that was going to jump across the table on me and go to work. I just got out the ring, getting my butt beat. Now I'm on TV, getting my butt beat again. As she looks over there at him, head slumped over, giving it to her. So this guy right here looks like he probably has a good, stable family. And he said his kids were impacted. Now imagine how the kids that doesn't have a stable home environment are impacted. Do you understand the generational damage that these folks and their policies have done to these kids and society as a whole? I was at my man's store today and I was talking to a lady behind the counter, older lady, talking about how everything was before this all hit and then how everything is. I still don't feel right. Our whole society just doesn't feel the same. They use this mess to bring an ominous feeling on our whole culture, our society. Things just aren't the same anymore. I don't know if we'll ever recover from that. And I'm not even talking about the kids. I'm talking about just regular Americans. They have damaged our country with this garbage, and the stuff that they use this whole thing to divide us with damaged us. So now, if they've done that to full-blown adults, imagine how these kids are impacted. 1 year can make a whole difference in the success of how somebody's life is. 1 year. So here this lady is. Let's see how she responds to this concerned father.
And for you to sit in front of Congress and the American people and say, oh, I wanted to open them the whole time. I am shocked.
Just like Fauci.
I'm stunned. And there are millions of parents who feel the exact same way.
I don't know you, sir, and you don't know me, but I have worked for the last 20 or 30 years helping kids every single day. I've been a school teacher. I've been a union leader. I knew and understood the importance of reopening schools and the importance of making sure that people were safe. And poll after poll that we did of parents, and I spent a lot of time with parents, said that they basically understood and supported that we needed to do both.
Look at this guy looking at her. Look at how he looking at her. All I want to say is that they don't really care about the kids. So here she is trying to give a sales pitch about her work with the kids. She love the kids. Look, man, who are you to question me and my bad choices and decisions? I mean, I've been working with kids all. You would hear that same speech come out of Democrat politicians that's been in Congress for 40 years. 40 years I've been fighting for victimized people. I've been fighting for folks that are in poverty and this and that, but your district is still the same. Doesn't matter what you say. It's what you do. Okay? If you're an activist, you're not interested in getting results or solutions, then you couldn't be an activist if things got fixed.
I'm really sorry.
You think parents wanted to keep the kids?
Nobody
you
wanted
think
to.
Parents
Nobody wanted to keep kids at home.
Why did we fail? How did Europe and the rest of the civilized world get this right, and we failed?
They had the schools in Europe that opened sooner than we did, and most of them did, had the mitigating strategies that we were just talking about.
Like what?
And it was
common sense. That should be the only one. That should be the only strategy that she should even be talking about right now. Common sense. When the lady from the CDC said that the teachers could go back to school, and they retracted that because it bucked up against the narrative, I'm thinking, why'd you retract that? Huh? I mean, you just said that it was safe, but, you couldn't drag this whole thing out if you would have did that. So a couple of days go by and you come back, actually, I just changed. Why did Fauci come out saying, you know what, there's no need for. And then all of a sudden, 2 weeks later, everybody got to have one. Y'all politicized this garbage. Y'all took advantage of this, and don't be sitting back here on TV lying about I did what I had to do. If this is the case and what you did was smart, then why did people who didn't do what you did get better results? Why are the kids in Florida further ahead than in New York? See, if you can't compare the results and say, I thought I was doing the right thing, and all of this carnage came from my choices, and people who said, that's dumb, let's do the opposite. Look, it all worked out. Florida's not Europe. So what are you talking about, lady?
Wasn't negotiable. It wasn't, it's inconvenient to have 6 feet or it's inconvenient to have masks. They had these things. And the other thing they did, and I don't know if it was right or wrong, the other thing they did is they prioritized schools over commerce. They prioritize schools over bars and restaurants and things like that.
Democrats prioritized everything over real things, meaning, you keep the liquor stores open, make sure you keep the lottery open, make sure you keep all these nonsensical joints open, but let's shut down schools, shut down. See, she ain't talking about Europe. You should be focused on the Democrats, okay? Because I heard politicians on the right saying, we need to open back up. This is ridiculous. We shouldn't be shutting down businesses and schools. We shouldn't be reacting like this. You're making this thing bigger than what it should be. And it appears that those politicians that had a moderate response to this, the results are in, and they made the better choice. And now here she is trying to blame it on prioritizing businesses and all that. They were prepared. They didn't have the obstacles. Bunch of bullcrap. The reality is you don't care about the kids. Not only does she not care about the kids, but here's those parents that are extremists and complaining about the stuff they're teaching the kids. Let's go ahead and see what they're trying to slide in under the nose of these parents, y'all. Dems don't love the babies either.
Do you support it being legal to abort an unborn child up to the moment of birth?
Now, guys, let me set the scene for this knockout, because Kennedy's about to jump in the ring, and it's going to be 2-on-1. It's going to be 2-on-1. Then he's going to tag in a couple people to jump in too. But the Dems brought 2 of their supporters to Congress, I guess, that supports this bill that will allow abortion up until the moment of birth. And the Republicans brought in the counter to that. So Kennedy's asking them all the same question. Let's see how they all handle this differently.
Senator Kennedy, it is not a yes or no question. I support women like Ms. Zarowski. Women across this...
No, ma'am, I don't. I think it is a yes or no question.
No, well...
You know, people sort of talk around this issue. If there were a bill that said that a woman has an unfettered right to abort an unborn baby for any reason up to the moment of birth, would you vote yes or would you vote no?
Senator Kennedy, I refuse to be shackled by your question. What?
Oh, God. Oh, God. This is what y'all working with. This is what folks that should have enough common sense to see these raggedy folks vote for. I mean, I can see the extreme liberals and radicals vote for, but common sense, normal people. If it wasn't for the media convincing them that everything is racist and everything this and that, you would hear the people that they bring up there to support their policies. You would say, man, these people are insane. So now here's this black lady who is basically saying this choice is relative. It's not a simple one. It's nuanced. It's black and white. It's not black and white. Now, if her life was on the line and they said, okay, do you believe that you should be able to be terminated by this person's choice that feels he has a right to terminate you? She wouldn't say, well, that's just difficult. That's not just a simple answer. As this is the factors. She would say, no, I don't want this person to terminate me. And I'm mad that you even brought it up as a possibility. She wouldn't sit back and try to fuddle around with it and try to pretend and have loopholes. You never know. There's things that could go wrong. It would be emphatically no. But now, here she is. Don't put me in a box.
What I have answered is that there are conditions that
you
occur
don't know
during
whether
pregnancy.
you would vote yes or no?
There are conditions during pregnancy that mean after 10 weeks,
no,
14 weeks.
Look at that. Round and round that mulberry bush, pop goes weed. So now this weasel's going around the bush, talking about there's conditions, there's factors and stuff. Like what? No, forget all that. Because see, the bill doesn't put that in place. It doesn't say if this, that, or that happens, then yes. It's just for whatever reason. Yeah, you know what? My water just broke and I changed my mind. Never seen this much water. Therefore, this can't be good. I don't want this. Okay, no problem. We'll take care of it. That's what he's asking. And here she is talking about there's conditions and this and that. What's the matter? You ain't got to go in there to say, yes, I do.
I said
20 weeks,
discretion.
24 weeks,
you
conditions
would
such as Ms.
support,
Zarowski.
you're here
and
advocating.
I would support her life.
I
would support her personally.
But not the baby's life. This 9 months. We're not talking about something that folks can tolerate because it's not that visible. The reason they didn't get all this pushback before concerning abortion is because it was done in a time that you're saying, okay, out of sight, out of mind. I mean, granted, when we all start seeing a little teeny fetus, yeah, that might have been impactful, but it would definitely not be more impactful than seeing a fully grown, healthy 9-month baby be aborted because of reasons. So you're telling me that you can't make a emphatic no to that? Good grief. We're not talking about 3 months. Fully 9 months.
But you're advocating a law.
I support her personhood.
You're advocating a law that says that an unborn baby can be aborted up to the moment of birth for any reason, are you not?
Let me clarify what the 14th Amendment says in the first sentence, that citizens of this United States are individuals that are born. That is what our Constitution says.
Well, now they love the Constitution. You telling me This chick tried to, now that really gave the answer. That gave the answer to how she feels about this. She feels that since the Constitution says citizens that are born, that means that, hey, unless the baby is out already, it's still subject to termination. That's the only way this baby gets rights. You have to be born to get those rights. Now, if we went by that same standard, then why, if someone kills a woman that's pregnant, they get charged for double murder? Vehicular homicide. Oops, ran into somebody that was 9 months. Well, you were charged with vehicular homicide for 2 people. What? The other one wasn't even born. It was one person, one in a possible. No, you get charged for both. Okay, so here she is trying to say that unless a child is born, then it's not technically, able to receive these rights. So how do you justify that? Like if somebody says this woman right here is pregnant and I don't want this kid, so I'm gonna push her down the flight of steps. Now I might be charged with domestic violence. That's it. That's all I'm gonna get the charge for. But she loses the baby. And she's like, well, he killed my baby. No, I didn't. I ain't killed nothing. Was he born yet? He wasn't born? Then it's just domestic violence. So it just depends on if the mother wants the child or not. That's the only way that you determine whether the value of the kid. But yeah, here's this supposedly educated woman just sitting here trying to spar with this very simple answer. Yes or no?
But why won't you answer my question, Professor? I'm not trying to argue. I just want to understand what your position is, and I think you're afraid to say that you do support that. If you do support it, I think just for the purpose of an intellectual discussion, you ought to just say so.
Yeah, but she don't want to be honest about she's a monster. Anybody who would say yes would come across as a monster. You got to be a monster. Because soon as you envision, as he was saying that, if a person sits back and says, wait a minute, we're not talking about the little teeny fetus. We ain't talking about that. We're talking about what we see come out of folks' umbilical cord fully. Look at this. Like Roots, behold, Kizzy, the only thing greater than yourself. Stuff like that. When folks have that image in their mind, and then you come out and say, absolutely, immediately go, what did you just say? You're a monster. That's why she won't say it. That's why the Democrats don't want to say that. They know that if they said it out loud, they would be confirming that they are monsters.
For purposes of an intellectual discussion, I'm happy to have that with you.
No, you're not.
But that's not the tone.
Could you answer my question? Do you support making it legal to abort an unborn baby for any reason? Any reason, up to the moment before birth?
Senator, let's have that intellectual discussion that you want.
We could start if you'd answer my question. I can't go to my next question until you answer that question.
I want you to be able to go to your second and your answer.
Because you don't want to deal with that question. She's like, I want you to move on, man. Get off my back. You already know the answer to this. You think I'm going to get up here after being brought up here by the Democrats and oppose their bill? They handpicked me. They made sure they picked an activist that is so extreme that she can't answer whether a 9-month-old child should be terminated. Just like Tangerine Jackson wouldn't answer what a woman was. You think they would pick a Supreme Court justice that will get up and say, absolutely, a woman is a adult female? No, they picked her because she was going to go round and round that mulberry bush. Do you understand how that would unleash all kind of criticism? It would tip over the apple cart of their woke agenda. It's extreme. So now you got to subject yourself to how either revealing I'm a monster, and in Tangerine's case, revealing I'm dumb, or I'm compromised. I got to pick that choice. I either got to go ahead and say, you know what? I know what a woman is, but that's a part of me getting nominated. So I'm going to go ahead and appear to be dumb. But I don't know. I mean, what am I? So she went the dumb route. She'd rather be looked at as dumb than to say, yes, that's ridiculous. Why would you even ask me that? So now here's this woman taking this route. Let's talk about it, but not talk about it, and this and that.
Questions, I do. But as I have explained, there are many different conditions.
No, I said
during
unfettered
a
discretion, no conditions. I'm
No.
making it easy for you.
Well, I've already shared with you, Senator, that I
get it.
support
I
women's
don't want to use
person-
all my time. You're not going to
and I
answer
support
it.
Ms.
And that's
Zaraski's
your right.
person.
But I would respect you more if you just say, here's my.
Oh, get her, Kennedy. Somebody put on there, you spin me round, round, baby, round, round, like a merry-go. Because that's what she's doing, spinning that mess around. Now, Kennedy's like, I would respect you more if you just answer the question. I wouldn't, frankly, because I don't respect her. The fact that she's not answering the question, and I can tell she ain't got the gonads to do it. The question is, do she really believe that? I mean, how would you feel if you were in the operating room and this woman is in contractions and then she just decides, man, I don't like this, I changed my mind. You got to be a monster to be able to say, well, that's cool with me. Let's do this, baby. I don't even think she would feel comfortable with that in a room where that's taking place. But yet here she is up there. I support this woman over here. It ain't got nothing to do with me. Unreal.
Sorry that you don't respect me
I do
very
respect
much.
you, but I said I'd respect you more if you just answer my question. Dr. Rubenhorst, do you support a law that would allow for any reason, unfettered discretion, the abortion of an unborn child up until the moment of birth?
No.
You don't.
Thank you. Thank you, Mom. This old gray-haired lady, she right there is no nonsense. Sitting back like this, like, I bet you should listen to that other lady like, what a fool. No. All right. Thank you. We got to know. All right. Let's get to, here's another one. Here's the second woman.
Senator Kennedy, so I'm the one doctor in this room that does provide abortion care, and
So that gives me authority to go ahead and support something stupid. I said, being the only doctor in here that provides this care, I think I'm the, we're not qualified to know that right there would take a monster to do. So here she is, guys, trying to soften it up so we don't look at her as a monster.
I can tell you that does not reflect the reality of abortion care.
I understand. I'm just asking a question.
It simply doesn't
But do you support it? There are bills before Congress that will allow that to happen. You don't support it, or are you going to be not answer my question?
As the doctor in this room who does provide abortion care, that is not how abortion care in this country works. It's a hypothetical that does a disservice to our
But if a patient came to you and said,
round and round that mulberry bush. So as she sits back talking about, it just doesn't happen. So wait, you're saying let's make a provision for it to happen, but the chances of it ever happening is so slim that we shouldn't even have to worry about it. Then why we need to even push it out there? Why should we make that law if it doesn't happen? Okay, I mean, do we make that for almost all the other laws? Bank robbery rarely ever happens. But you know what? We're going to make a provision in the law for it to happen, and there's no consequences of it. But normally it doesn't happen, so we shouldn't have to worry about it. Therefore, we're going to eliminate a cap, a law that says you can't rob a bank. Eliminate it and rely on the people just doing the right thing, because it normally doesn't happen. So here she is, the expert.
I'm going to probably have a baby this week, and I've changed my mind. And I would like you, doctor, to abort the child. Would you do it?
That is not how abortion care in this country
But if a
works.
patient did, would you do it?
My job as a doctor is to look at each individual situation.
There it is, y'all. Democrats. These are Democrats, everybody who's watching the show. These are all the Democrats brought them. They brought them. We didn't bring them. We ain't bring them. See, don't be associating them with us. Okay. These are the folks that ignorant people are voting for. Talking about some, I support women. I mean, it's just a lot of factors. And he laid it out carefully and clearly. No reason at all. Because see, the bill doesn't put all of this in there. The bill don't say, well, it rarely ever happens. Don't worry about it. And there are months, then you never know these kids. It's just, don't want it. So, lady, answered that question. Based on the bill, would you be okay with this as a doctor? Well, it doesn't happen, and mostly I just have the factors.
Sorry, I don't mean to be rude, but I can tell neither you nor the professor will answer my question. I think you both have an opinion, and I don't understand why you won't share it. We're going to solve this problem.
I've provided care for a few years, and I've never seen that situation.
So how about you? So I mean, I've been in this for a few years, never seen that situation. Does that mean nobody would take advantage of it if the bill passed? You probably never seen that situation because it's illegal. Talking about it, man, I've never been into. Unreal, these people. And the Dems bring them up there.
You, Don, would you?
Do not support unfettered abortion. And I would like to point out that if a woman did have a life-threatening condition in pregnancy past approximately 22 weeks, that baby can be delivered alive by induction or C-section, and we can try to save that baby. The intent of abortion is a dead baby, and that is not necessary in that situation.
I mean, I want you to all understand where I'm coming from. This is a tough issue. And it's a tough issue because there's some tough questions we've got to answer. And when you won't answer the questions, when you're invited by my Democratic friends, the majority, and you won't answer the most fundamental question, we've got a bill in front of us that will basically say a woman has the unfettered right to abort at any time for any reason up to the moment of birth. And that's a gut check issue. And I would expect you as experts to answer that truthfully, how you do it.
Thank you. Because the dirty Dems brought y'all up there. It's a gut check. That's what it is. It's really to check the monster. Which one of y'all got the thing inside of you? And the way you expose it is not by taking a drop of blood and putting fire on it. The way you expose it is ask them a very direct, simple question, yes or no, and say, now, do you support this? Well, that's not an easy answer. She got the thing in her. She got the thing in her. Get her out of here. Okay, next. Do you support this? Nope. Thank you. She's good. Come on over here. Next. Do you support, well, as a doctor, I think that, they never have it. Okay, you got the thing. Get over there. So these folks got the things in them, and those folks don't. It's a gut check. Oh, wait a minute. Dems don't care about illegals or U.S. citizens? I thought they just loved illegals and U.S. citizens, but they couldn't love either one of them if they allowed what you're about to witness happen. We only got like 15 minutes. We got to get through this.
Today, the Biden regime approved the decision to send 1,500 active duty United States troops to the southern border in anticipation of Title 42 ending next week, which is, of course, the COVID era rule that limits the amount of illegal immigrants processed into the country. Now, these troops will serve in mostly administrative and transport roles to help free up Border Patrol and local law enforcement in preparation for the growing group of migrants to come.
What? See? Now, you can't tell me that you love Americans when you are knowingly allowing these policies to bring all of these illegal immigrants into our country. And at the same time, you can't tell me you love illegal immigrants when you are letting them come here, some of them sending their kids, they're dealing with rape, they're dealing with trafficking, they're dealing with all the stuff that dishes out nothing but negative results. And you're claiming you're doing this because it's humane. You don't love either one of them. There is a goal and objective that is more important than any of us, Americans and the immigrants. So now they're bringing in these troops. Now, notice, they're not bringing in the troops to stop it. It's to relieve the pressure. It's to prepare for the overwhelming amount of all of these people who are waiting for the day that this ends. Now, this right here burns me up. Listen to the estimated amount of people that's on their way when they move this bill. Oh, remember this? Oh, Kamala Harris, okay, Wednesday accused Trump of sending thousands of U.S. service members to the border for Thanksgiving just to make a show.
I also believe that the administration made a decision to deploy them based on a political agenda. And I believe that it is inappropriate to require the limited resources of the United States military to be used in such a way when it was, and these folks who are being deployed there, they're going to leave, they've left their families.
Yeah, it's about
Thanksgiving. They will not be home, looks like, for Thanksgiving. And all because there needed to be some demonstration for the TV cameras based on a political agenda instead of what is a national security threat.
Interesting.
Now, they're sending our brave troops, who, by the way, by law, cannot enforce laws on domestic soil, they're sending them down there for a political stunt. When they could be with their families. The men and women of our military deserve better than that.
We want to begin with news that the Biden administration is sending 1,500 more active duty troops, Marines and Army to the southern border. That's in addition to the 2,500 National Guard members already there. The decision comes ahead of an expected surge of migrants when pandemic-era restrictions known as Title 42 expire next week.
Now, just how big is...
So the Dems don't love our troops either? So, wait a minute, they don't love the kids, they don't love the infants, they don't love the troops, they don't love American citizens, they don't love law and order. All of these things the Dems don't love. So let's just go ahead and see what we're looking at next week or two.
This group of migrants, according to Representative Andy Biggs of Arizona, the group already amasses nearly 1 million migrants who intend to flood the border as part of a Mexican drug cartel operation. Watch.
No, y'all hear that? Now, if I had hair, I would be pulling it out of my head right now. 1 million. And the drug cartel is going to use this so that while the troops and all of the Border Patrol are distracted, writing down folks' names and numbers and stuff, they're going to be doing whatever they want to do. All these people need to be arrested. You do understand that. This is treason right here. What they have done to our country and our border, which is obvious that they're doing it on purpose. They have broken their oath to protect the homeland on purpose.
Got off the phone with a county supervisor from my state, sits right on the border. They just had a briefing with the sector chiefs from San Diego through Yuma to Tucson, and they are told that there's between 700,000 and 1 million people massing south of the border, that when Title 42 goes away, the cartels have planned to overwhelm the system. And so what's going to happen there, Steve, is what they're anticipating. They do not have enough resources to keep them in the detention and processing facilities.
Look at that.
They don't have enough personnel. And so when those facilities get full, what's going to happen under this administration, they're going to just take pictures. They're not even going to do full-on processing. They're going to take pictures. If we're lucky, fingerprints, probably not even that. And then they're going to release them right into the local communities along the border.
Wonderful.
Now, that stuff right there, you're putting all of us in danger. All of us. So let me get this straight. So many people. Forget the paperwork. All right, next. All right, and look, man. Just take this pamphlet. Come back in about 3 years for your hearing, okay? Call us. Call us and set up an appointment to come back and we'll hear what you... Are you kidding me? Do you think that the Democrats would have changed the policies to bring all of these people in if they really wanted them to go through a real legitimate process only to be sent back or denied? Because we know that all of these people coming are not coming for asylum. They're coming because the Democrats said come, and they're making it easy for them to come. So for them to expect them all to go to court, knowing that if you had a legitimate court, they would send all of them back, is ridiculous. You wouldn't want to go ahead and create that problem for nothing. So you already know they're not coming back. I don't even know why y'all pretend that they are. Why don't you just say once you... But yet they're lying to all of us saying, yep, that's what we're doing. We're vetting them. You can't vet that many people in that short amount of time. All you can do is what he just said. Go ahead. Oh, my God. Oh.
But many illegal immigrants aren't waiting until May 11th, and why would they? Yeah. Despite Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas claiming the border is closed, the border is secure. Border Patrol Chief Raul Ortiz tweeted out yesterday, in the past 72 hours, they had 22,220 apprehensions, 806 pounds of methamphetamine, 283 pounds of marijuana, 62 pounds of cocaine, 2 sex offenders, 1 murderer, and 1 gang member, all in just 3 days. And although 22,000 apprehensions may sound like a lot, and it is, that number likely pales in comparison to the immigrants who were not apprehended and processed at the border, who just snuck right on through. The streets of El Paso, Texas.
Y'all hear that? All of that carnage in 72 hours. Now imagine when they remove this garbage, this Title 42, how these people are lined up. It's going to be like they open up the store, the malls, when Cabbage Patch Kids just came out. Those people were waiting outside the door and they ran in like they were running from the bulls. That's how crazy it's going to be. And you know that it's going to be a long day for those troops and for those Border Patrol agents. They're not going to, it's going to be like, man, I'm just trying to go home tonight. And they got, what, almost 1 million people laid out all over the place. So all I can do is just take pictures and send them here. I don't even care at this point. I don't care because the people who are changing these policies that allowed us to happen have thrown us under the bus. Told us, just do your best to manage it. Just take pictures and let them come in. And if you don't think this crap, and see, I'm mad at Texas right about now. Look at this. This is in El Paso, Texas.
Texas looked like a third world country already, with illegal immigrants setting up homeless camps and packed in like sardines, sleeping in the streets, draining the city's already spread thin resources. No, this is not El Salvador or Honduras or another third world country you are seeing right now. This is here in America and coming very soon to a city near you. Now,
did you see that? You know, I mean, whoever took that video was driving for a while. All you saw, people everywhere. Boy. I tell you, the damage that's being done to this country, and if it doesn't stop almost immediately, it's going to be irreparable. I mean, I know we got 2024 coming up, but they're like, you know, we gotta destroy this mug as quick as we can. So let's remove Title 42 and see if we can get about 4 or 5 million in before we get voted out, if that even happens. So that was El Paso, Texas, and the governor has no say-so in this. This is unbelievable.
Call me crazy, but if the border was already secure, as our officials have told us over and over and over again, why would we need additional troops to help secure it? And if the border was already secure, how are all these people getting in? And if the border was already secure, then how did that man in Cleveland, Texas, who just shot and killed an entire family, get deported and cross back into America at least 5 times?
All I want to say is that Dems don't really care about us. You can't care about the American people. That man came in, killed a whole family, and was deported and came back in 5 times. 5 times. I can't stand the Democrats. I can't stand them, y'all. I mean, I'm telling you, y'all got to pray for me, man. Y'all got to pray for me. I'm trying to keep it from turning into full-blown hatred.
Of course, any reasonable person understands that the border is not secure and has not been secure since day one of the Biden regime. We are run by a bunch of liars and criminals, and the American citizens are going to see the very real and devastating consequences of an open border for generations to come. It will not be pleasant.
He has tools that he's used to make sure that we do this. We actually deal with the immigration system in a humane way, and in a way that is that actually deals with what we're seeing at the border. And that's why you've seen the parolee program be so successful. It has when it comes to illegal migration, you've seen it come down by more than 90%. And that's because of
Black gay drop can't even lie right. This is why we're doing things. And that legal immigration that came down over 90%. What are you talking about?
The actions that the president has taken.
So at least 91%?
That's a lot.
That's a lot.
And here we are being critical.
I know.
What do we expect?
Every single person stopped?
Oh, man, y'all. We're going to end with Mucus, who actually went on MSNBC and got the business. He got a little reality check. And I got about 5 minutes of clips left, but we ain't gonna get through the rest of it. We're gonna shut it down and things like that. I'll give a dismount in a second. Here we go.
I want to ask you about Border Patrol because the union doesn't like you, and they make it pretty clear on social.
Oh wait, what did Chuck Fraud just say?
Border Patrol because the union doesn't like you.
The union don't like you,
and they make it pretty clear on social media this month and last month, the month before. These are all from Border Patrol, the Border Patrol union on you. The chickens are going to come home to roost because of what he's done. They call you a national disgrace. Remove Mayorkas was their most recent tweet.
Oh my gosh, Mucus! Oh, look at that face. That border is so. He always talks about he got a great relationship with the men and women down at the border. I support them, the hardworking men and women. So that's like you saying that my wife loves me. She says that I'm a great husband, and yet You see her online like my husband sucks, his feet stinks. He comes home late, he never takes the trash out, sleeps all day, drinks all night, can't make love right. Dang it, that dude got a lazy eye that I can't stop staring at. His breath stink, he got a pepper tooth right there and won't get it worked on. I don't know what's going on with him. I wish I would have never met this man. But my wife loves me and we have a great relationship. No, you don't. They just laid out nothing but carnage on you, mucus. Let's see how he responds.
How can you lead a group of people whose union wants you out of office?
Chuck, I'm incredibly proud to work with the United States Border Patrol. I have supported them vigorously since my first day in office. I will continue to do so. A tremendous source of pride.
A tremendous source of pride.
Wow. So when does Clown Mayorkas all be held accountable for nonstop lies?
I just want to come back.
This dude's getting beat up all over the place, y'all. Man, okay, wait. Okay, give me about 5 more minutes, y'all. Because this last beat is beautiful, too. Josh Hawley's back, y'all. Oh, and he's about to beat up this, well, since there's no such thing as genders no more. He's about to beat up a human, non-binary human, that is responsible for trying to convince us that our jobs should go to China and we should focus on climate change here. So therefore, we should destroy our ability to be independent. See, and listen to her final statement to him, and let's see if it makes sense as we leave.
Back, Madam Secretary, to this trade-off between energy security and the radical climate change agenda that you've endorsed, which is less energy security for America, radical climate change agenda. On the subject of these sweeping mandates related to electric vehicles, Biden administration has imposed, including now for our military, the metals needed to make the lithium-ion batteries in those vehicles are, of course, lithium, nickel, graphite, and cobalt. Can you tell me what nation is the largest producer of refined lithium in the world?
Now, she should be able to say this. She should be able to tell us. Because, see, when you make a change like that impacts Americans' lives and what they buy and all of that stuff, I hope you've done some research and talked about, okay, what's the cost? What's the cause and effect? But you know what am I thinking? Democrats don't do that. They jump and look later. See, just like let's go ahead and defund the police and watch crime go up. Just like, you know what, let's change all the policies and stop people from coming across our border and then say the border's secure. Yeah. So now, instead of figuring out, well, does this make sense to start destroying our fossil fuel industry and then forcing people to buy a vehicle that the parts and resources comes from some other place, you would think that you would know where that's coming from because you're trying to invest everybody's future in these resources. You would think that, but you'd be wrong because we're talking about Democrats.
World.
No, I can't.
It's China.
No, I can't.
Can you tell me which nation is the largest producer of refined cobalt in the world?
No, Senator.
It's
No,
China.
Senator.
Do you know what nation is the largest exporter of natural graphite to the United States globally?
No, Senator.
It's China.
Okay.
So in all of these instances, these mandates, your decision to trade off our energy security in favor of a radical climate change agenda is making us more and more dependent on China. And at the same time, you are denying mining, blocking permits for mines in this country that would allow us to develop nickel and copper and cobalt.
That sounds counterproductive. So all I want to say is that Dems don't really care about us. So all of the things that would allow us to be able to be non-reliant on our number one threat is made by them. You got to be the dumbest politicians and the most self-sabotaging politicians on the globe and of all time. Of all time. We got 2 grids that the parts comes from China. Our grids. If the grids go down, you think China is going to supply, bringing them back up? They might be the ones that knock them out with balloons and stuff flying over our country. This is unbelievable that these folks are starting to invest in a concept, a product, or whatever, that the parts and the resources all come from our enemy. So what would make one do that? It got to be a benefit. And China has been doing great things when it comes down to buying off raggedy politicians that will make choices that benefit them, like that Joe Funky Biden. We found out today, a whistleblower that came out and saying without a shadow of a doubt, Joe Biden took a bribe to make policies that ended up benefiting China. But yet he's going to do what to China?
Why? Why block the development of these resources in our own nation in favor of making us dependent on China?
I'll lead an effective strategy to mobilize true international effort to pressure, isolate, and punish China.
There you go. That's why. Because that idiot right there and his raggedy son, that $1.5 billion deal, got the nerve to be talking about, I'll make a true international depression, isolate, and punish China. It looks like he's doing a great job with it. Great job as they fly balloons all over our country, disrespect us, military increase, and unreal.
Senator, are you referring to the Boundary Waters?
I'm referring to the Twin Metals mine in Minnesota. I think that Senator Brasso was just asking about.
Yes, near the Boundary Waters, which is an iconic place and, of course, a very valuable ecological system to many plants, animals, species.
But jobs for, let me just say this though, jobs for blue collar workers in this nation are valuable resources. The livelihood and well-being of American families are valuable resources.
Not to the Democrats. Not to the Democrats. They're obstacles. That's what they are. So here she is talking about the environment, that's the resources and that. And this is a luxury that only liberals have. To sit back and worry about the climate change and mess like that. You can go around the globe and find folks living in conditions and ask them, what's one of the most pressing matters in your life? Do you think they would say climate change? It would be how I'm gonna feed myself and my family tomorrow, not even today. I mean, every day I wake up and that's the priority. What are we gonna eat today? I mean, are we getting kicked out today or not? We made it one more day. So instead of me worrying about the sky falling, I got to worry about my roof falling in on me and you talking about some climate change. So now she's talking about the environment, and yet all of these jobs folks are losing, and nowhere in their thought is, well, it's all for the environment though. Yet the people who are going to be providing the number one products that go into this new Green Deal that y'all are pushing, they get to drill. They get to provide for their family. They get to do all of that over there. They're not worried about the climate and the environment and drilling and all of these things that need to be. They're going all over the globe, getting these resources while we sit over here and build our whole hopes on products that our enemy provides. Boy, they can't be dumber. They cannot get dumber than this.
The ability of America to have our own industry and not be dependent on China is a valuable resource. Why should those things for millions of Americans be sacrificed in favor of your agenda for radical climate change?
Because we're liberals.
Senator, I know that there's like 1.9 jobs for every American in the country right now. So I know there's a lot of jobs.
Wait a minute. You're telling me...
You know, she shouldn't have tried to fight back. Holly is the best, man. He said, wait a minute. You telling me, oh, she's going to get it on the way out.
You're telling me we've got too many jobs in the country?
Well, I'm saying that we don't have enough people. That's why we are having a hard time finding folks to work at our department. But
you hear that? That stupid answer? No, I'm saying that we don't have enough people. And your department is not the whole United States. I mean, you probably got skilled or certain positions that you just can't open up the door and look around like, hey, you, come here. You want a job? Yet here she is talking about what I'm saying. We got 1.9 jobs for. So just because you're saying you got 1.9 jobs for every American, are they qualified for these jobs? What type of jobs are they? How much these jobs pay? I'm sure there's a lot of jobs out there that folks say, man, I don't want that job because I'll be sweeping up stuff and I wouldn't even be making enough money to even survive. What are you talking about, lady? There's so many factors in that statement right there. She just acts like all the jobs in America pays the same amount and everybody's just sitting around, lifestyle already built around a certain income. And yet you're just sitting there going, you know what? I once was a person working at GM making $100,000 a year building this car. Now they done shut down that and sent it off somewhere. And this is all I know how to do. It's not necessarily a technical skill position. And you want me to just go out and get a job. Built my whole career, my whole life around that amount of money. And you going to degrade me by saying, look, man, there's jobs out there. Go get one. It's like when Joe Biden told all of the coal miners and stuff, learn the code. There you go. Hands all rough can cut somebody by just touching them because you've been working in the coal mine all those years. Got the black lung, all of that. And then you get cut loose because they send that mess to China and they tell you to learn the code. And you're like, how you turn this computer on? All right, Todd, that button right there turns it on. These people, man. And now she's going to get it.
Oh, wait, you're telling me that we have too many jobs for blue collar work? Have you seen the number of jobs we have lost in this country to China in the last 20 years? Do you know where those jobs come from? Over 3 million jobs have gone to China.
I'll lead an effective strategy to mobilize true international effort to pressure, isolate, and punish China.
Do you know where those jobs have come from? They've come out of Midwestern towns like the ones I represent. They are blue collar workers. And you're sitting here and telling me that we have too many jobs in this country? Are you serious?
Senator, we are working hard every single day. We have processed 20 mining applications, 20 mines or mining modification permits since January of 2021. We are moving forward. We're doing our jobs. We're fulfilling our mission.
You're not moving forward. You're moving backward. You're shutting down and denying permits for mines in this country where we can develop our own resources. You're shutting down oil and natural gassing permits. You're approving taxes and royalties that deliberately suppress American energy development in favor of a climate change agenda. And now you're sitting here and telling me we've got too many jobs in this country.
You gotta love them. See, this right there highlights my whole point tonight. They're getting up here telling you that they're doing all of this stuff, and then you see the results. You can't tell me I love the kids and all of that stuff, but yet you kept them out of school. I've been working with kids all my life. We're doing it, and you kept them out of school for no reason. You can't tell me that you love the illegal immigrants and you love us as citizens, and you're making policies that allow our border to just be overran, our citizens to be impacted by that, and the illegal immigrants to become victims of trafficking and all that other stuff. You can't tell me that you are working on behalf of the American citizens and jobs, and you're trying to give all these permits. You said you processed them. You didn't say you approved them. But nonetheless, you can't tell me that you're trying your best when everything y'all done is made it more difficult for folks to drill on our land, get availability to do this, because it's like, yo, man, by the time I go through all of your red tape and go through all of that crap, I'm not going to be making no money anyway. So as they make it more difficult for us to operate independently over here, yet telling us that we're doing everything we can. And he just ripped off all the things they've done that led to China now being able to provide all that stuff, and our jobs are gone. I mean, how do you account for us going from being completely energy independent and the #1 exporter to now we're relying on all kind of people? Please, can we get some oil or Saudi? No, we don't work with you anymore. Away with you. And now they're hooking up with China and all the rest of them. But you're doing stuff. You're doing stuff, working hard every day.
Gobs of jobs in this country. We don't need any more jobs in this country. I want to take the strongest possible exception to that comment and to that entire mentality, which I think is very honest. I think it reflects the mentality of your administration.
And if you don't believe that,
an effective strategy to mobilize
true international depression, isolate and punish China.
Which is when it comes to blue collar workers in this country, you're on your own. Good luck. Good luck to you. We got plenty, just shut up and go get a job at McDonald's, whatever. Quit complaining about the loss of American industry. I mean, good Lord, that is extraordinary. What an extraordinary response.
Yes, it is, Holly. It's very extraordinary. Yeah, because these extreme Democrats are extraordinarily evil and stupid. That's what they are. They don't care about the country. And it's been proven through tonight's show. So as that lady tries to gaslight us and say we're working hard and there's a whole bunch of jobs out there that you can't find. So I'm sure her salary revolves around that money that she's getting, doing nothing but destroying the country. And if they were to take that out from under her and say, now go get a job, or like doing what? I don't care, just job. Well, I mean, look, they're hiring down the street at McDonald's. Well, I can't even pay my car note with that. I got a house, everything revolves around my life. What they got to do with this? Jobs are there, they're out there. Don't tell me there's no jobs. That's one of the dumbest statements, and that's why Holly had to go ahead and expose her stupidity. So guys, thank y'all for hanging in there with me. I wish that these things could be uploaded also on my normal channel. Maybe I'll go ahead and upload them later, because I know there's a group of people, a huge audience over there that don't even know that I'm over here and haven't had a chance to maybe find me. Also, I saw some people during the live chat say that they did find my new channel already. So if you did, thank you. Make sure you subscribe. I'm about to upload a couple videos, new ones y'all have not seen, to that new channel, and see if that could kick in some algorithms, because like I said, I had to go through this big thing to make sure that they're not able to make the connection that, you know. So now that I've done that, I've launched this one. Eventually, I might keep this just for the heck of it or as a backup, but eventually I want traffic to go that direction. So please, once you find it and subscribe, share it to other people. I can't do it, or they'll know. So, but it's a shame that I even got to go through all of this. It just goes to show the state of our country and all of the actors that are involved in manipulating how things operate. So somebody said no info on here on that. Well, see, y'all could put it up there, but I can't. But what I can do, let me see here. Let's see if I can find this. So for somebody who found it, please put it in the chat right there. Put the link in the chat. Let's see. Oh, crap. All right. I'm up here watching myself. You know what? If you found it already, it's KC 2.0 free. All right. So if you found it, put it in the link. Okay. Thank you. Now, other than that, we're going to get ready to get out of here. Don't forget, follow me on all the other platforms. I removed all of my live shows from Kevin's Corner, but all of my regular uploads are there. If you miss any of them, you want to check them out, or if you want to go to that channel and find some of the links that might not be in this, feel free to go over there and do that. And I appreciate what you guys have done. So we'll see what happens. I won't be out of the doghouse until next week. So I'll be back on Kevin's Corner next week. But in the meanwhile, I'm going to be focused heavily on this new channel. So we hope you guys support it. And this way we'll have a backup. Because I can't go through this, man. I don't like putting all of my eggs in one basket as these folks play around with my life. I don't like that. So thanks a lot for supporting me. And we'll see y'all next time in Kevin's Corner. Take care. Ooh-wee. All I want to say is that this is all city. Yeah, all city. Hands up, get our hands round up. Tear up the place, yeah. Take care.